I'm like, Joey the anime man is catching flack for some apparent reason. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here specifically. I have no idea why he's catching flack or something. But we can probably take a look and see what this is all about, to be honest. Like, don't get me wrong, I criticize his take or so on the whole AI thing, from the artist who wants to do, like, who wants to use it or so for the Minio task and everything. But, like, unfortunately, Joey has missed the mark or so specifically on that video, and that's why I criticized him specifically on it.
Clip right here. As you can see, 2.4 million views on twitter.com, captioned.
Oh yeah, also, I keep forgetting every single time to always make it full screen and everything like that. Sorry guys, I haven't been used to it or so yet, to do the full screen and everything, but I should probably do the full screen actually. Sorry, I'm just so used to like not doing this full screen mode yet, so it's gonna take me a little bit to get used to this, of course, but you know, it is what it is. It's gonna take some time, okay? Just give me a little bit of patience or so. I'll get used to it eventually, so.
Well, actually the caption is a quote of what this woman in the video says, but we'll take a look at the caption / quote, which reads, quote, "We need more animes with female protagonists," unquote. And the caption to that is now, "Woman who has watched 5 anime series in her life, aka a tourist causing problems. Hey, this is my fandom now."
It's this stupid conversation again, where we need more female protagonists. There's already a lot of female protagonists already.
Gotta change for me. Yeah, no. Jokes aside, though, it's not even just about, like, you have to change for me, which we've seen from anime tourists before. No, this one is also the fact that she's also just wrong. Wrong in pretending, or I shouldn't say pretending, wrong in acting in her own ignorance. Like, there's not a lot of anime that have female protagonists. There, in fact, actually is a lot of anime and a lot of manga with female protagonists.
Yeah, of course there is.
Of course, some of those characters are some of the most beloved characters in the medium. But that's exactly how these anime tourists are time and time again. They clearly don't really like anime, but they LARP as if they do. Then they go around virtue signaling, being performative as heck, calling everything problematic and offensive.
Oh, you know,
the same sort of slop that we've heard from people like this over and over and over again. They really need to get some new material, or better yet, just like stop LARPing and move on with your life. But, you know, apparently it's a big ask for these people to stop being fake. That's something they just can't do. Speaking of which, that takes us back to this lady, and things get really crazy because she actually, after she makes her horrible points, she gets called out by Joey the anime man. I know, kind of surprising, right? But hey, let's play the clip. It's about 1 minute long.
My anime hot take is that we need more female protagonists.
Sailor Moon, Madoka Magica, those are the obvious ones. Serial Experiments Lane, Girl Who Leapt Through Time, Kill la Kill, Kanan, Ergo Proxy, Claymore, Yojo Senki, Ghost in the Shell, Violet Evergarden, Azumanga Daioh, Maiden Abyss, Nana, Shoujo Kakume Utena, Yona of the Dawn, Ascendance of a Bookworm, Psycho Pass, Black Lagoon, Certain Scientific Railgun, Haibana Denmechi, Hayafuru, My Neighbor Totoro, Little Witch Academia, Hibiki Euphonium, Ancient Magus Bride, Nichijou, Blood Plus, Blood Sea, Kara no Kyokai, Kiki's Delivery Service, House Moving Castle, Nausica, Spirited Away, Suzumiya Haruhi no Yutsu, Soul Stone Free Reign, Lovely Complex, Fruits Basket, Princess Tutu, Perfect Blue, Oran High School Host Club, Carolyn Tuesday, Apothecary Diaries, Bocce the Rock, Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken, Dead Demons, Destruction, Ghost Sick, Wolf Children, Georgia Part 6, Moribito, Shirobako, Bloom Into You, Kino no Tabi, Humanity Has Declined, Slayers, Uma Musume. Damn. I guess we do need more female anime protagonists, huh?
Bro even pulled like a reverse Aizen at the end there, starting without the glasses, but then adding the glasses at the end. And some people were like trying to defend her, being like, that's not even that many. And it's like, dude, he's not gonna literally list all of them. That would take forever. It seems like he was really just going off memory. But the anime tourists, they are very offended at Joey's take. So they,
starting to irritate
believe
my
it or
ears
not,
after a while.
this is crazy. They went to Twitter to complain and be offended even more, like they always do. I know, shocking, right? Great lives. This person says, she said more, idiot. Do you know what more means?
You do know there is a genre specifically designed for like women lead or just for women in general? You know, you do know there is an actual genre, right? Do people not know that, you know, that there's actually like an actual genre for this?
That tweet got 1.1 million views on Twitter, and hundreds of responses calling the OP out. For example, we've got Lady Lark writing, "We have had many female protags already. People in the anime community who have eyes have been knowing and seeing this for years."
Yeah, exactly.
And this post that reads, "I want more of this thing. Hey, you already have a lot and you're not underrepresented in the anime space at all. Well, I ask for more and more. What don't understand?" And another saying, "This is very clearly a list that he made off the top of his head, but if you actually looked at the currently airing shows, there's at least like 20 shows airing right now that do have female protagonists."
I do know one of them. I just recently started watching a specific, what was it? It was called something Ogre or something like that. Hold on, let me see if I can get the name real quick. It is called The Ogre's Bride. That's one of the most recent animes that I have been watching or so, which is a female protagonist. So
we have a new season of Magi Lumeri about grown women as magical girl OLs with no fan service at all the things Twitter complainers claim to be clamoring for, but I barely ever see anyone talk about it because the people that complain the most about female representation in anime don't actually watch anime. But the offended people were not done. I like this comment. "Joey's now a chud apparently."
He's
Says,
a chud?
"I'm trying this chud loser," in reference to Joey, who wasn't even relevant 10 years ago, pronounced it Madoka Magica. That's just too funny. Let me guess what's next. They're gonna call him a Nazi? Is that it?
Oh,
hey, he was harassing
Christ.
this innocent girl who did nothing wrong, and he's
You're
literally
just a commentary
Nazi.
account,
Here's
so
another tweet that's
you're just a
upset with
joke account at
Joey.
the end
This
of the
one has
day.
8,900 likes. Says, "Just because you can name 20 doesn't mean there shouldn't be more. LOL. You would die."
Do you want the video to last more than an hour long or something like that? I feel like I should make a video or so, like just naming like all the not naming, but like naming all the animes with female protagonists, and just upload the entire full VOD in general, just for people to understand that this is every single anime that have a female protagonist. Every single one, you know?
Of old age if you named all the male protag anime. They got a response from Kukurio that says, "You would also die of old age if you named all the female ones. The point is precisely that you claim there aren't any because you lack any anime knowledge, so you don't know there are as many female characters as male ones."
I remember there was one, I don't know if Joey already announced it or so, but there was like one specific anime in general that is basically, I remember it was like a pink hair or red hair girl where she's a princess or so, but then her kingdom fell down and she uses a bow and arrow. And then she has like these hot guys or so, basically like bodyguards or something like that. And she ran away from it and she's trying to live or so. And I think she's trying to get back her kingdom or something like that. I don't really remember the plot or so, but it's something like that. I don't remember the name or so.
We have this tweet with 7,400 likes also upset at Joey, saying, "The anime man is such a jerk. In the full video, she specifically talks about Sailor Moon and at least one of the other anime he brings up as a counterpoint, and admits there are many." Bro, that just makes her sound even worse. What do you mean? She brings up that there's two examples. She says that there are many, and she can only think of two, and one of them is like
all I have to say is these people who think they know it, the anime community, these are just people who don't know the anime community. They're just a bunch of LARPers at the end of the day.
Obvious example.
Or posers.
Sailor Moon.
There's just a bunch of posers.
I mean, come on. Come on. There's probably people that don't even like anime that can name more than she did. How is this supposed to help her?
That's the one. That's the one that I was talking about. That was exactly okay. So let's just bring this up for the people or so in the back who are pretty deaf on hearing, you know. So, shoujo anime is a target demographic category of Japanese animation aimed primarily at young adolescent and teenage girls, roughly between 7 to 18. While it often associates with romance, sparkles, and school life, shoujo is an overarching demographic rather than a strict genre, encompassing fantasy, comedy, action, and supernatural tales. Wow, you don't say, huh? Now, let me just ask this real quick, okay? Now, how many are there in general? Like how many, like how, like roughly how many shoujo animes are out there? Hopefully I spelled that correctly, to be honest. There are roughly about like 600 to 800 shoujo anime entries in existence of spanning television series, movies, and short animations over the history of the medium. While tracking the database on My Anime List, categorized several hundreds in titles explicitly under the shoujo demographic filter. The total number varies slightly depending on how strictly one defines demographic versus broader romance and magical girl genre. So gatekeeping will rise. Only let people with the achievements to talk about this the key subject. Ever since after the COVID era, these people think like they know everything, but they don't. It just kind of proves that you're just a person who just comes into the medium because of the popularity. I blame Attack on Titan at the end of the day, because Attack on Titan was the stepping stone that basically started, normalizing anime because of that first episode.
Argument, like I said, this makes her sound like even more of a tourist, and
that's
the response ends
why.
with this person saying she just likes them and wants more. Stop farming straw men for content. Look, if that's really all it was,
it's because of the
she
first
likes
episode
them
of
and
Attack
more,
on Titan. That's
fine,
the only
but
reason
she was
why.
clearly trying to come at this from an angle of like, this is problematic and something.
No, I'd say it's Attack on Titan. I think it's Attack on Titan that exploded the actual popularity.
Needs to be done about it. And it's coming from someone who, again, has no idea what she's even talking about, which became even more clear in that post that was trying to defend her, but only ended up making her sound even worse. Let's check out some of the top comments here. Let's see what people are saying about this one. When you say, quote, we need more, unquote, of something, it insists that there isn't a lot of it, which is not true about female-led anime. This is another example of people complaining just to complain when it genuinely isn't anything to complain about. And this one that says, my thing is, whenever women say this sort of thing, they often ignore the previous female characters who crawled so modern day female characters could walk. I know so many women who claim to want more female characters, but they've never watched the animes he mentioned.
No, they never do.
I might have actually just found one of the craziest comments defending the woman in the clip. Check this out. Yeah, this woman didn't say, quote, there are no freaking anime ever to exist with a woman protagonist, unquote. And as someone who is more than a casual interest in the genre, I probably watch 50 to 100 anime. I've never even heard of the stuff Joey mentions outside of Sailor Moon.
Let me search this up real quick.
I want to think this is bait. Like, there's no way, right? How have you never heard of any of the anime that Joey mentioned in that clip except Sailor Moon, and you're saying that you have more than a casual interest in the genre? And that
here it is. So let me read this to you. So, yes, Attack on Titan played a massive role in pushing the anime into the global mainstream, acting as the vital gateway show for millions of non-fans. While predecessors like Naruto and Dragon Ball built an early foundation popularity, Attack on Titan broke the cultural barrier when it premiered in 2013. So, Attack on Titan was basically the one that actually, like, pushed it. So it was you guys are saying that it's Sword Art Online. It's not Sword Art Online. It's Attack on Titan that caused the actual thing that blew up into the mainstream audiences. That's why I have a hate and love relationship with Attack on Titan.
You've allegedly watched 50 to 100 anime, but you've never heard, like, it doesn't make sense. There were so many very popular, very well-known anime that he named in that clip. Am I falling for bait right now? Like, it's not a blue checkmark account. If there was a blue checkmark there, I would think it was probably bait. But since there's not, I don't know. Maybe bait for the love of the game? Or maybe this person's serious? I don't know. But if you made it this far, we'll end the video with
that person has a One Punch Man avatar. Don't even listen to them. Don't listen to people who have like mainstream like profile pictures. If they have a mainstream anime profile picture, don't even listen to them, and their opinion is irrelevant, to be honest.
Little trivia, a little game, if you will. And the game is Guess the Anime. So it's an older anime. It's one I saw a long time ago, and I liked it back then, but it wasn't one of my favorites. And my favorite character in that anime back then was actually a side character, and he got a really bad ending. So I was kind of just disappointed and upset about that when I finished it back then. But I've recently been doing a rewatch of this anime, and now the actual main character is by far my favorite character. I don't really care about that side character anymore. I've moved on. But this main character and the anime itself have both become, like I said, one of my favorite characters. and now also one of my favorite anime. On top of it just aging really well, certain life experiences I've had since then, dealing with death and things like that. We're not going to get into all that stuff, but my point is, it's given me a new perspective on this anime and a brand new appreciation for it that I didn't have the first time I watched the show. And so the reason I'm bringing it up is because it could maybe go on the list. It wasn't on the list, and it really would not go on the list, but by the very end of the anime, through sheer technicality, you might be able to argue that maybe it could go on the list. But yeah, it's a little bit complicated without spoiling anything. So that's all the hints, or rather, those are all the hints I'm going to give. If anyone can guess the anime in the comments, hopefully I see your comment, and I will give you a heart if you guess right. But as for the video, that's it. That's the latest. Let me...
I see. It's weird that they're trying to... It's kind of weird that they're trying to cancel him and whatnot, so... Remember when anime was non-mainstream? Good times, good times. Yeah, it's Attack on Titan that I blame her so for it to go mainstream, in my personal opinion. Attack on Titan was literally the anime that blew the lid or so for it to go mainstream, and then now you have a bunch of tourists coming in and trying to dictate the lolly community, trying to dictate, you know, there's not enough women in anime, the misogyny in anime, the whatever other shit in general, you know, these content creators who are like fake or so, you know, think they know anime, but they don't know anime. So, you know, that's the thing itself. I remember growing up and you got made fun of liking anime. Yes, even liking Dragon Ball got you bullied. Yeah, of course, you got bullied yourself for liking anime. That's why when I was hanging out with the goth kids in general and everything like that, the scene kids, the rocker kids, the metalhead kids, they all liked anime. I think a lot of their favorite one was definitely Death Note. Death Note was one of the popular ones. And that's basically what they enjoyed the most. The Hispanic people enjoyed Dragon Ball, to my knowledge. For me specifically, I watched Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon was one of my favorite. And then, of course, you know, I watched a few other ones, but I didn't know like Sailor Moon was an anime until someone told me about it, and I was just kind of like, oh, okay, I did not know about it. So I actually, you know, so Sailor Moon was my favorite one because I thought it was just a cartoon at the end of the day. So but that was like young me or so I didn't know much. I didn't even know anime was a thing, so that's why. DBZ was the first anime I really sunk my teeth into when I was younger. Yeah. Like I watched it with my older brother. My older brother watched it too, but he wasn't really into DBZ though. So he didn't like DBZ. Neither did I as well. So none of us really like DBZ. So, but yeah. Anyways, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff. I personally think it's pretty freaking weird in general that they're trying to cancel Joey or so because he named like a good amount, at least like 10 plus animes, female protagonists in them, and they're really popular, to be honest. It just kind of proves that a lot of these people in general who are in the anime community don't know what anime is overall. So, and I will have to say, one of my favorite animes, it's not really a good anime. The games are a lot better, the visual novel is better, but the actual anime was not that great. This anime specifically got me into watching a lot of the like non-popular ones, which I'm really happy, to be honest. It was 11 Eyes. 11 Eyes was the actual anime that got me into watching like the non-mainstream stuff, and that was kind of like basically it. So I have to thank 11 Eyes or so for it. The story was fucking stupid or so, but like the visual novel was better. For me in my time, liking Naruto or Dragon Ball was okay, but since I am a Gen Z of 1998, I witnessed and live how normal people loved watching AOT. My whole classroom was talking about the first episode. Yeah, it was literally the first episode of Attack on Titan that literally blew the lid or so when it to make anime mainstream, and that was basically it. And we all know for a fact those people are not actual people who enjoyed anime whatsoever. Like, they enjoyed anime, but they didn't watch, like, you know, what made anime, what made it special to begin with, you know, for a lot of people to connect with, you know. And they're just in here trying to dictate, and they're trying to call lolly people like PDF files, you know, and all this other stuff, which makes no sense whatsoever. So, but oh well, it is what it is anyways. That's the end of the video. Like I said, these people who literally say that they know about anime are not actual anime people. Especially if they only name like mainstream stuff. It's just, I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, so you're that kind of a person. Okay. Well, it's nice knowing you, but yeah. That's kind of like basically it. So, anyways, it is what it is. Like I said, I disagree with Joey's statement in his last video when it came to the AI usage or so. But in this specific video, like I said, I agree to disagree. I don't hate the guy at the end of the day, but I will defend Joey or so when it comes to this kind of type of shit. So, like I said, that anime cosplayer girl had the worst take ever. So, anyways, that's the end of the video, and peace.